Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is not a podcast episode. We're doing a video here. This is going to be the first time I've tried to record this. Also, the first time I've tried to record something like this on my current PC. So hopefully nothing goes wrong. But one thing that we've been doing over the last year or so is occasionally we'll put up a Ko-fi post kind of talking about the various things that we got and things like that. And while I think that's interesting, I think people probably are more interested in seeing it in a video format if possible, and probably gets more reach as well if people are looking up stuff on YouTube. If people are looking up the perfect Rolfee data disc on YouTube, you have now found it. Welcome. So, we're gonna be looking at this today. I will say, whenever I do these videos, my hope is, when we're looking at these things, is that I will have uploaded it to archive.org. If you know of alternative places to upload alongside that, let me know, because there's been some archive.org drama for years now, and it feels like at any moment archive.org could explode. But I don't know how true or not true that is. We're going to look at this disc. This is actually one in a series of 3 discs that have very similar branding on them. I think this might be the last one. Sorry, my lighting's a little weird here, so it's a little hard to show you this without it glaring horribly. But mostly what these discs are, I usually call them desktop accessory discs. I think that's because that's what the first Kiss Story ones are called. I'm actually not 100% sure if that's what these officially are called or not. But this is primarily based around the Rolfee PCFX game, right? That's the title, featuring the Rolfee mascot character, not the anime freak discs kind of things and things like that. So, which I actually was thinking about. I was kind of surprised. Apparently that game, I think, let's switch over to our other view here. I think that game might not be made by Hunex. I was hanging out on Hunex's website, as I do, and there's a PCF. If you want to navigate the Hunex website, you go to the work section here. It's going to say Switch and Steam. Don't click those. Click Works, and you get everything Hunex has ever done. And on page 2 here, we got PCFX. There is no Rolfee game in here. So I don't think I ever necessarily thought they made the Rolfee game, but I think if you asked me to guess who made the Rolfee game, I probably would have said Hunex. Anyways, point being, they actually do list these kind of desktop accessory kind of games on their website under the PC Windows section here. But these are all first Kiss Story ones, which I think they were a lot more involved with, possibly. I did not see one for this disc, but the Blue Breaker Windows 95 disc, that's also what they are, they're Windows 95 discs, is actually listed here. So I'm curious if they worked on this or not. The Hunex backlog on their website's a little unclear sometimes, what they worked on and what they were just involved with and things like that. But anyways, so first and foremost, if you do want to try to check this out yourself, the archive.org has the ISO. As far as I can tell, it's basically as easy as coming over to wherever you have it on your PC. I'm using Windows 11. Just right click it, you click mount, and then all of a sudden that disc will be on your PC like a normal disc, and then you can click index here, and then you'll be on the screen that I'm on. This page is primarily graphics, so we can't do any kind of machine translation of any of this kind of stuff, but it basically takes you to a handful of different places. Most of this is just kind of telling you how to use the application, what software you might need. So there's nothing crazy on these pages. Just thank you messages and things like that. Also the minimum requirements, stuff like that. So we're not going to go too deeply into this, but please enjoy this CD-ROM, which is full of Rolfee for as long as you like. So, it looks like there's a mailing address here for sending in your thoughts about the Rolfee disc. Well, let me tell you, maybe just leave a YouTube comment. Don't mail them that. I don't know who's there anymore. But if you click Rolfee, you see you got a little hand here. Rolfee will speak, as she does actually quite a bit across this disc. So I'm going to mute myself here real quick so you can hear Rolfee.
皆さんこんにちは、ロルフィーです。この度は私の CD-ROM を買ってくれてどうもありがとう。この CD-ROM には今までいろんな雑誌に載った私のイラストや PCFX 版隣のプリンセスロルフィーで使用したセル画などのたくさんの壁紙やオリジナルスクリーンセーバー、パソコンに活用できるサウンドデータ、 そして私や隣のプリンセスロルフィーに関する様々なデータを網羅したパーフェクトデータベースがいっぱい詰まっています。ぜひあなたのパソコンに活用して私を身近に感じてもらえたら嬉しいな。詳しい使い方はこの画面の各項目をクリックしてよく読んでみてね。それでは今後ともロルフィーと PCFX をよろしくお願いします。バイバイ、またね。
Bye bye, matane. So I actually opened this up on a Windows XP machine a little bit, and how this actually seemed to work, at least on that machine, is that it did open up like Windows Media Player separately. Since this is a Windows 95 disk, I'm not sure if like whatever the default browser for Windows 95 was may have played that while still sitting on this page, but the Windows 11 functionality here is it just takes you to like a built-in media, or sorry, I'm on the Chrome, it's what I'm using. It just takes you to like a built-in media player kind of thing. So there's a lot of Rolfee voices around on this disc. We're not going to listen to all of them. We're going to listen to that one. That's the big one, and things like that. So, but they do give you this section here. I believe this is how to install, was it a Rolfee voice pack, if I remember correctly? How do you sound data? Yeah, so you can basically install, I believe, Rolfee to be applied to different things. It looks like here's audio for shutdown, minimizing Windows, maximizing Windows, system errors. I've seen other stuff like this before. There's like an Internet Explorer character like Inori Aizawa. So chances are, you know, in Windows, you can replace these sound effects today. I have not done that yet. But that is on this disk. And a lot of these files, you can, if you just like open these files in like File Explorer here, just kind of go in there and, you know, find these audio files on your own and do, you know, whatever you want to do with them, they're in there. So, you know, Rolfee up your PC. I don't know if there's like a clean and easy way to like install these today. I haven't actually tried that. So anyways, and then same thing with the screensaver disk. There's a screensaver that we can, install as well. We'll probably try to look at that later. I found that worked actually pretty well on Windows 11, but I'll double check, or we'll try it, and I don't 100% remember. And then there's the credit section. We'll go back to that later. But the database is really where the biggest chunk of content is in here. A lot of this is text, so thankfully, if we want to on a modern OS, we can click translate and get ourselves, you know, some machine translation. It does break some of the formatting and things like that. Anything I believe that is audio specifically has this little music note, that's what they're called, hanging out there. So I think these first two are audio, and then the rest of these are links. The Rolfee game features a variety of characters that I don't know, honestly, that much. So a lot of these are like character profiles and things like that. So we have Rolfee herself, get a character profile of Rolfee. Rolfee really likes ice cream, and it says nuts there. Let me see if I can, is that, okay, it says something there. That is nuts. I can read the nuts part, but what is this? Or maybe I should just go to like a good website for this kind of stuff. Is it G-Show? I think is what it's called. There we go. Everyone loves gshow.com. Let's see if we can figure out which one of these it is. None of these are like screaming out to me, but anyways, we know Rolfee likes ice cream. So new fact about Rolfee, you may or may not have known, she is the fourth princess of the magical kingdom. So yeah, it's just like a bunch of little things. There's also like, you know, voice message from Rolfee hanging out there, but then you can learn about all these other kind of characters and things like that as well. I believe a lot of these are Rolfee's sisters, maybe. I believe that is the case. But we also get some art here as well for these characters. I don't see a lot of art for these other characters online very much. So I don't know if they got like an additional thing. I feel like with something like Rolfee, right? Rolfee, big for the PCFX kind of character, right? So pretty important. I feel like there probably is some other additional art book that might be centered around the game. And if you know of one, let me know, because I'm not saying there isn't one. I just haven't looked really myself. So yeah. So, you know, this is just a list of characters here. Rolfee goes to school with a bunch of other people and things like that. So I'm not going to go through all those characters. I think they are all, Rolfee explains who each of these characters are as well, if you want to click down here and see that as well. So, one thing that's interesting as well is the My Neighbor Rolfee guide here, which is kind of interesting. They do kind of tell you that, like, hey, if you're just starting the game, don't look at these things yet, because it is basically just trying to tell you how to find different endings. And I will say, if you've never played a game like, I don't even call it, a romantic adventure game like Welcome to Pia Carrot, or maybe a dating sim would be Welcome to Pia Carrot. These kind of like, visual novel-y kind of games that have various selections you can make and things like that and decisions you can make. I think the temptation always is just like, hey, I just want to get the story, so I'm just going to do that. I would recommend going through and playing it because, and like playing it blind initially, because I think there's a sense of exploration you get out of those kind of games. And I think we will talk about that at some point on the podcast. But, basically this provides a variety of little pieces of guidance. I would say this is less of a walkthrough, more of hints, because when I think of walkthroughs, I think of like, we have one on archive.org for First Kiss Story, or I have one. It might just be on my personal account here. The First Kiss Story walkthrough that I had pulled up before, it's very direct, where it's like, hey, make this decision. Okay, we're not pulling that up right now. Make this decision, make that decision, things like that, right? This I kind of like because they're just kind of suggestions, it feels like. And again, this is like machine translation, so how accurate is like this thing? I guess we're going to technically dive into a little bit of spoilers here, technically on screen, but let's say we come down here and like, I want Natsu and Fuyu to get along well. And then, it says here, if you increase your exercise stats, Fuyu-chan will appear. If you increase your study stats, you'll meet Natsu-kun at the library. And so like, it's giving you this like guidance and it's telling you how to go through this stuff. But I like that it seems to be just like general, like, all right, this is what you need to do. It's not like a complete direct guide on like how to do something, right? And I think that kind of like helps contain the integrity of the game a little bit while still, giving you a way to, I guess, like get some guidance. It's to help you, not so much, tell you the answer. Every single one of these pages, I believe, have a message from Rolfee. Yeah, maybe not these pages. Yeah, these do not. But, a lot of the pages as we go through this are going to have some kind of message from Rolfee on it. So I think that was a pretty cool little thing. And then also, this is really interesting. If you don't know much about the merchandise for Rolfee, this is a little goods museum. There are a lot of these kind of things where, maybe I shouldn't say a lot of these kind of things. I have seen things like this before where there's like a list of goods that a company will provide to you. And I don't know if the intention is to like give collectors a way to like check off a list of what they have and things like that or not. I do like this says like premium level. I guess that's maybe like a rarity level. Curious if we can figure out. No, it just says premium. All right. So it's a premium level. Let me see if we can figure out what this kanji is here real quick. Whoops, I didn't want to zoom in. Premium temperature. I don't know. But, I think it's basically just trying to say like a rarity level, right? But this kind of stuff is pretty interesting because it tells you about this merchandise and things. One thing that we've talked about a lot on the podcast a little bit is the idea of comic market in 1995 being kind of a fairly big deal because that's where it seems like Rolfee kind of had her debut. Even though the PCFX kind of came out before that, Rolfee is the mascot, but it was kind of like a late mascot thing, right? We don't really 100% know. But one of the nice things is David Shadoff, who has been on the podcast multiple times at this point. This first one here is the doujinshi. And I think we'll look at this in the future. So if this is something that's interesting to you, let me know. I'm not going to try to open this here right now. But we actually have, let me go full screen here. We have that doujin book here that David sent over to us. So the intention is to get this scanned so you guys can look at it. But my hope is that we'll also skim through it on a video. How much information I'll be able to give to you from that is another thing. But I'll try. But it looks like it basically includes some original designs by Rolfee and a set of different costumes. And it just seems like it contains a various reading material as well. I'm literally just reading what's on screen. I shouldn't do that. So, this is actually interesting. So I had heard about, on the back of our Comic Cat. I guess the other thing, let me go get it. So I think we've talked about this before, but on the back of this, Comic Cat ad, on the back of the big, catalog that they put out, I'm not going to explain Comic Cat to you right now. They actually have a list of goods and things that are listed down there as well. So I was aware of a lot of these kind of goods that came from Comic Cat. but I didn't necessarily know what they looked like. So we get some little tiny pictures. All right, so we have kind of a Rolfee figure here. This is kind of interesting because only 300 were made total, which is not a big amount. And I believe based off this comment here that says like the photo shows the finished product already colored. I think what they mean by that, I could be wrong about this, is that this might be a garage kit, is I think I've heard them called before. This says a figure model kit. So this might be one of those things where like you can buy it, but it's not assembled yet. So you would have to put Rolfee together, and then you'd have to paint Rolfee as well. I've seen this before for other games, like Blue Breaker and First Kiss Story and things like that. And the Blue Breaker one seemed fairly common. First Kiss Story, I've only ever seen one of the main character, Kana, and the one I saw was not in great condition and stuff. So, but I'm not a very artistic person, and my hands are not the best hands for those kind of things. I'm a little shaky, and I think it is something that I think would be interesting to try to like put together and paint those someday. But at the same time, if there are only 300 made, I don't know. It's one of those weird things where like, if you're a collector, you may want to, if you ever find it, you may want to just keep it like sealed, Rolfee preserved as a dismembered figure. But for me, it's kind of like, oh, well, you should do what it's intended for you to do. You should create the Rolfee you believe in, kind of thing. I'd be curious. I don't know a lot about them though. I'd be curious if you can like take the paint off and repaint it if you are unsatisfied with your paint, kind of thing. So, I like the little comment here as well, talking about how because Rolfee's hair is unique, it was really hard to get right. I mean, Rolfee's hair is funky, but you can kind of see it in the background of this. I always call it cabbage hair. I don't know if that's really accurate or not. But it's a strange hairstyle. I'd be curious, like, where the inspiration came from it. Maybe someday we'll find that out. But yeah. Rolfee tapestry. I assume, that's just a poster or something. I don't know if like a tapestry specifically means like it's a cloth print versus like a, plasticky kind of print of a poster. I feel like a long time ago, cloth prints were a lot more common. I don't know if I see nearly as many of those today, but I'm not exactly in the poster market today looking at things. So. And I love this, the mini Rolfee. So this is an event, the PCFX Anime Festival. I need to look into this a little bit more. If I recall correctly, this was a in-person event that was primarily focused around the PCFX. It's called the PCFX Anime Festival, but it was like dedicated in an interesting way. In that like it was an event that was kind of just talking about all the upcoming PCFX software and things like that. And then also I believe that it's one of the ones where there's a lot of Angelique fans that were there as well. And I believe if you have one of the PC Engine discs that feature the PC Engine discs that can play on a PCFX, they're called like the PC Engine what's it called? I have one. The PC Engine Fan Special CD-ROM. I have one of them, volume 2. It's actually on this one. There is some video of the event on that disc as well. Although I feel like either it's primarily focused on Angelique or I was there for the Angelique, so that's what I paid attention to. But maybe at some point we'll sit down and kind of look at that and take it kind of bit by bit and kind of analyze the footage of an old crusty PCFX video of this anime festival event. It seemed like a very interesting event, and I think it'd be fun to kind of better construct an image of what that event was and what was going on there. So, yeah, I've never seen one of these little Rolfies going around. She looks a little goofy. She looks a little funny, but I kind of appreciate that. Got some Rolfee t-shirts. That's one of the things that was mentioned on that Comic Cat book, is that there were Rolfee t-shirts on sale. So again, I think a lot of this stuff is just like things that if you want to be, collect Rolfee telecards and things like that, Rolfee bags. These, I think they're plastic bags. Yeah, free plastic bags. I think I've seen a couple of these floating around before on like Yahoo auctions. I'm going to start going through these fairly quickly because there's a lot of them. And I think a lot of these are not as interesting. Rolfee seal. I don't know what a Rolfee seal is. Let's see if we can decipher. That just seems to say shield. So I don't know if you know what a Rolfee seal is. Let me know. I haven't looked into that yet. Yeah. Why not? Let's go on the internet. Let's go on a quick little journey here. A Rolfee seal. We got some stickers here. So maybe it's stickers? But these are the anime fan club stickers, I'm almost certain, because that's not what we're seeing here, right? Unless these are also stickers. Oh, what are these things? Funbid.com. Hopefully this isn't going to be a nightmare website. It looks like a nightmare website. Okay. All right. 1,500 yen. Void drifting. Not a lot of details here on what this stuff is, but I guess this is another picture of it. I think they might just be stickers of various PCFX games. Did that say the Anime Fan Festa event? Because maybe those were games that were being showed there. Anime Festival. That's interesting. So one thing I would like to do is figure out what games are being shown at this event. And it seems like this sticker set might be a good starting point. Because that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't do math, sorry. 15. That'd be 15 games shown at that event if this is like all the games that were being shown. None of these are launch games. So, yeah, these might have just been a sticker set of the PCFX lineup kind of thing. So that's interesting. But we only get to see Rolfee because this is a disc about Rolfee. We don't care about that other stuff. Rolfee patches. I've seen these floating around. I think I've seen them sewn on jackets and things like that as well. Apparently they came from the Anime Festival as well. Seems like a lot of this stuff came from the Anime Festival. I would be curious when this disc came out in comparison to the Anime Festival. I think the Anime Festival was 96, if I remember correctly. This disc says 97. So, probably at most a year or and some change on top of that. Rolfee CD case and stickers. I don't know if we scan that or not. I'll need to make sure that we scan that. And the Rolfee calendar. So this is interesting because one thing I was curious about, and sorry, there's also the Kishi, is that what it's called? That's what they're called. I assume this is a one thing, right? That's a color paper used at the autograph session. Its value item that was only used at this time. I wonder if every person who got an autograph got one of these or not. I don't know how unique these are or aren't, kind of thing. Premium level is very high, though. But yeah, these other things were given at the Anime Fan Club bonus, and then also the Rolfee calendar. So this is like where, so one thing I was thinking about, because I was building the Rolfee sheet for Portland Retro Game Expo last year, and I was like, there's all this Rolfee art with different outfits on, right? Where did these come from? Were they drip fed over time during different things going on? Were they released separately? Were they released all at once? I don't know. And so this Rolfee calendar does list them all, and this disc also does feature them all as well. So maybe it was just like a set that was made. And one thing that's interesting, so the Rolfee calendar here shows different outfits on each calendar, right? And it seems like maybe there was just an outfit made for each month of the year. Again, I don't know if they were dripped out over the year, or if they were dripped out, or if they were like in total put out all at once kind of thing. So in getting into that, that's pretty much it for this data collection thing. It's really interesting. Or the Goods Museum. Also, in general, I think this whole data section, all that's really left here is just like additional audio, and again, we can look at understand more characters. She is a very hard worker. It is not satisfied unless she is number one at everything. We can learn more about the characters of the Rolfee game, but I think we're going to look at these other things real quick. So some of these things, it's just a little easier for me to maybe look at the files, but I will go ahead and see if I can get some of these to work. So there's a Rolfee screensaver. Let me see if I can get this to run. There's 2 screensavers on this disc, I believe. If you watch the PCFX fan club, I guess you could say montage of all the games that are on the PCFX that we did for Portland Retro Game Expo. This is mixed in there a little bit. I don't know the context of Rolfee having cake here other than maybe she just likes cake. We did learn that she loves ice cream. But yeah, it kind of pulls up all these different outfits and stuff. And if I recall correctly, it might also say the month along with it of when these are relevant. Let me see. Let's watch this here for a second. Go away, Rolfee. Okay, we're going back to this. Maybe it's the other calendar. Oh, I think the other calendar, because that says something about like 12 months on it. So, but yeah, there's just like a bunch of these little cute little Rolfee animations, and I think then it cuts into some of the outfit art basically. So cute little screensaver. I like this one a lot. I like the little like chibi Rolfee design. That's definitely more up my alley when it comes to the look of Rolfee. Anyways, so this other one, I think this is the month one then. So we get a little spin in here, and then it tells you the month. So we got January, and then it goes to the next one, I believe. Yeah, and then it tells us, I believe, the month of this one. Nope, this might just be a picture of Rolfee. Hello, Rolfee. How are you doing today? All right, Rolfee, go away. I want to see the month, Rolfee. I don't remember this one. Maybe I never looked at this one before. How unfortunate. We're learning new things, or I'm learning new things here. Rolfee. Basketball, Rolfee. Rolfee, tell me another month. Oh, there you go. Okay. February. All right. So yeah. Anyways. So yes, it attaches a month to each one of these character profiles. So I think I have looked at this before. I just don't remember the little tiny heads. I was trying to run this on a Windows XP machine before, and it did not work. So to my surprise, it runs fine on a Windows 11 machine. Or it did work on XP, but it was just kind of glitched out. I forget exactly what happened. I think the colors of the characters weren't right, and so like everything was like inverted colors or something like that. So I'll probably go ahead and try to do like a full recording of these and also upload these screensavers alongside the video, or do some kind of montage later. I don't really know where to put those things at the moment. So, I mean, obviously we can just throw them up on the YouTube, but I don't want them to get all clogged up in our other content and stuff like that. So we'll see. I might just make them unlisted videos that we link on our Ko-fi or something like that. So anyways, so that's a screensaver. Very exciting. And they still work today. So if you want yourself a Rolfee screensaver today, you can do that. And then also, so I don't know. So I'm in the files here. And I don't think, so there's a wallpaper section here. Because early at the index, we saw this wallpaper section here, right? And you can make Rolfee into your startup and shutdown screens. The wallpapers are available. Yeah, so I think maybe you're just supposed to go and pull these wallpapers from the folders themselves. Because I was trying to think if there's a way to actually navigate to these outside of the file structure, but I think you just go into the file structure and just go ahead and pull this stuff out. So we have 8-bit and 24-bit versions of these pictures. Again, a lot of these are very similar things. We'll use this. Rolfee. So I think these are like pretty decent quality versions of these. 24-bit versions as well. I am not somebody who sees the difference of these up front really, so, but you know, pretty high quality pictures of these. So I utilize these on the, what's it called? So, again, one thing I do when I upload these things to archive.org is, in addition to the ISO, I will separate these files out into separate folders. So if you just want to download the archive.org like images for these, you can. And I believe a lot of these are very similar here, but there are some additional pieces of art in here for other characters, Eric Koo, things like that. So, but they're not really quite like, you know, full kind of wallpaper-y kind of sizes. I've seen other wallpaper discs that have kind of your more traditional like 640 by 480 kind of things. I think these other ones might be all the same ones, right? These are just different sizes for them. Yes, you're just like lower quality versions of them. Let me come back here real quick. Sorry. Yeah, so the largest ones have a different set of images in here. Well, I mean, the images are the same between them, but if you go to the smaller ones, there are additional images in here. It looks like images from the game themselves. Okay. Which is interesting because one thing that I noticed... So I was looking at the disc itself, or rather, you know, the packaging for this disc. And in the upload, I'll also include any scans of the packaging and things like that. But on the back of here, there's a picture of this girl here with a full wallpaper. And maybe I'm blind. I don't know. I don't think I've seen this picture anywhere on this disc. So I don't know if that came from somewhere else or if I'm missing it from somewhere. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just having a hard time seeing it because like I would think it would be one of these pictures, but I don't see it at all. So I don't know. Otherwise, the only other thing really in here is, you can directly look at some of these files. You have the images for, these GIFs that we were looking at earlier, but, these aren't higher quality images or anything like that. They're just images that we already have, throughout the disk and things like that. This is just where it's pulling them from. But one thing is in here is the logo sys section here. These are the Windows, I believe, startup and shutdown images they were talking about earlier. So we got a Windows 95 image here. I don't know. So one of these is labeled AT and it's squished. So I don't know what that's for. So if you know what AT is with Windows 95, I'd be curious about that. But these do have, I believe, different images. Logo S in here. Yeah, it has the baseball Rolfee with, that's cute. I didn't notice that before. There's look at that. A little FX baseball cap. That's fun. That's cute. I enjoy that. Same thing there. AT, yeah. Are these... Okay, those are more similar. That's the baseball one. And there's a W one in here as well. That's her with the umbrella. So yeah, and then same thing. Some of these files, no, I'm mounting the disk, so this should be right. Oh no, this is not the disk mount. These files I'm looking at right now are the files that I pulled from here. I forget if I already said, but these files will be available for you to just go ahead and pull if you want. Maybe I shuffled them around on accident. I'll have to double check. But anyways, point being, I think that's everything. So I know this is kind of all over the place, kind of frantic. I'm kind of a rambly man. So if you let me sit in front of you and ramble stuff, I will do that. If that's something that you want, I think it will be something that I will at least try a handful of more times, but any feedback is appreciated. We're not going to do anything crazy from a presentation standpoint. Again, this is the first time I've set this up, so there will be some changes, I'm sure. This lighting is kind of weird. I don't really know what to do with this lighting right now. But we might look at some of the stuff in the future. And then we might look at the physical items in a different way where we're not just, necessarily pulling them up on a PC. We might look at these on an actual camera if I can get a setup that's reasonable. Otherwise, I will still try to give scans for these kind of things. Again, thank you, David, for providing this book in particular. So, but if you want to check it out, again, it is on archive.org. I'll have the link in the description. I'll also go ahead and post that up over on Ko-fi as I try to do normally. And all these things, if I can, I'll try to make them accessible to you guys as possible. Unless there's for some reason I can't figure it out. So anyways, thank you again. Have a great whatever day of the week it is for you. Goodbye.